All right, after a day of drama, the House approved a one-week extension of funding for the Department of Homeland Security. 1 week, 7 days. That means the bill will be back on the table March 6th. But is that enough time to find a solution to this problem? Let's bring in CNN political commentator Maria Cardona and Republican strategist Lisa Booth. Good to have both of you back.
Good morning,
Hi, Victor. Good morning.
Maria, let's start with you. Is a week enough time?
Well, we'll see. I mean, what we saw last night, Victor, was a resounding and embarrassing and humiliating failure of the leadership of Speaker Boehner. And what a long trip we've come from the days right after the election when Speaker Boehner and new Senate Leader Mitch McConnell vowed that the days of governing from crisis to crisis were over. And so right now what we're seeing is that the Speaker has 1 week to prove that he can come to his senses, really try to govern, and focus on perhaps the path that his colleague in the Senate took, Mitch McConnell, after he realized that what he was trying to push through the Senate wasn't going to work. And so finally he put to a vote a bill that cleanly funded the Department of Homeland Security until September. That was the way to go. But right now, what we saw this week is that Speaker Boehner is more interested in the security of his speakership gavel than in the security of the American people.
Well, let's go to Lisa. Lisa, do you think that the Speaker should or will be able to sell his caucus on a clean long-term funding bill?
Well, I don't think that's something that Republicans in the House are going to support. But to Maria's point, we're governing crisis to crisis right now because this is an unresolved crisis because of Democrats last Congress. We have to remember why we're here right now. We're here right now because Democrats failed to do their jobs last Congress. Republicans passed numerous appropriations bills last Congress. We debated those bills for over 90 hours in a transparent process, and we considered over 400 amendments. Senate Democrats passed 0 amendments. We're also here right now because President Obama decided to do something that he said over 20 times he did not have the constitutional authority to do, and that's rewrite our nation's immigration laws on his own. And this is something that a federal court in Texas just struck down as unconstitutional. So we're here right now. We're governing crisis to crisis because of Democrats.
But Lisa, are you also here right now because the Republican leadership allowed it to go for 2 months, also allowed this element of not funding the president's executive order on immigration? The Republicans are in charge of when the votes are called and what gets into these bills because of their majorities here.
Well, that's true as far as Republicans are in charge of the votes. But, you know, you have to look at why we're here, Victor. And I think that's what's so important in this fight. And I think, you know, a lot of people would like to point to Republicans right now, which Maria is doing. But what they're not recognizing is the fact that we're here and we're facing this crisis and we're in this situation because Democrats failed to do their jobs last Congress. So quite frankly, it is not only ironic, but it's laughable for Maria to point the finger at Republicans when it's Democrats' failed leadership last Congress and resolved issues last Congress because of Democrats failing to do their jobs.
Could this backfire, Maria, on Democrats?
No, actually, I think it's backfiring on Republicans. And what is actually ridiculous is for Lisa to blame this on the Democrats when, I'm sorry, who's in control of Congress? Who's in control of both houses, both the Senate and the House? Oh, right, it's Republicans who vowed not to govern crisis by crisis. And let's take a look at why we're here. The president did do an executive action, and by the way, through his constitutional authority that many Republican presidents have exercised in the past.
That's not what a federal court in Texas just said.
Completely legal. Well, we'll see. That is going to go through the courts. We'll see. But let's also look at why he did that. You know, speaking of not doing their job, Speaker Boehner had a year and a half, Lisa, to go to the floor with a comprehensive immigration reform bill to get immigration reform fixed, done. He could even have done it piecemeal, the way he said he wanted to do. He refused to do any of it. So again, he is kowtowing to the most extreme conservative voices in his caucus. He's proving to the American people that he cannot govern and that he's putting politics before the safety of Americans.
President Obama's job to rewrite our nation's immigration laws. Further, that comprehensive immigration bill that you're talking about will cost taxpayers $30 billion and does nothing to address the illegality.
Hold on, Maria, let me put this question to Lisa. There are 2 senior House Republican sources tell CNN that there's serious concern among those close to the Speaker that if he allowed the vote on this long-term DHS funding bill, the clean bill, that conservatives would make a motion to vacate the chair, a direct challenge to his job. How serious do you think that is?
Well, I think that's a question for, those House Republicans. But, look, we don't know what's going to happen. I think there's going to be some serious debate happening over the next week. And there are some serious issues that we're looking at right now. I think what is important and what I continue to go back to, because I think it's absolutely important to address the root causes of what we're facing right now, and that's Democrats' failed leadership last Congress and the fact that Democrats failed to do their job.
Yeah,
we're in this
Lisa,
Congress.
You can't go back and
it is
blame
now
it on
Republicans
Democrats
who are in charge of the House and the Senate, and all right, I just got a big rep from which in TV speak is cut it off. We got to move on. From a producer. So Maria Cardona, Lisa Booth, thank you very much. Of course, we'll continue this over the next week.